Let's talk about something that can really make your speech or can really break your speech, visual aids. So you already know that a speech has a structure, a central idea, main points, transitions, and all of that lives in your words, what you say. Visual aids are what happens when your words need like backup, when something's easier to show than to say, or when you want your audience to see what you're describing while you describe it. And here is the core principle before we get into anything else. A visual aid should aid. It should do something your words cannot do on their own. If it's just decoration, then it's not a visual aid. It's can be a distraction. So the question is always, what does this add? There are four types of visual aids we cover in this course. So slide decks, and this is what most people think of first, and we're going to spend most of the time here. A well-designed slide deck supports your speech without replacing it. Objects and models, demonstrations, and handouts. So let's cover each of those. Objects and models. Sometimes the most powerful visual aid is a physical thing, a prop, a product, a model, something you can hold up or even pass around. So if you're speaking about a piece of equipment, bringing it in is always more effective than showing a photo of it. Three-dimensional objects have presence that a screen just cannot replicate. Demonstrations. Sometimes you are the visual aid. A demonstration puts that concept in motion. You show the audience how something works rather than just telling them. And this is high engagement and high risk. It requires rehearsal and it needs to go smoothly enough not to eat up your whole speaking time. Handouts are really useful, but timing on these matters enormously because handouts go out after the speech, not during. Why is that? Because the moment you distribute that paper, half your audience or more, they're reading instead of listening to you. So you've lost the room. If you have something worth handing out, just hold on to it until you're done. Now let's talk about pacing, specifically for slide decks, PowerPoints, because this is where most student speakers go wrong in one of two directions. So here's the principle. Any visual on screen should stay up for roughly 30 to 90 seconds. That's your window. Because under 30 seconds, you're just clicking through faster than your audience can process. They're trying to read what just appeared and you've already moved on. And that is not supporting your speech. That's just creating noise and confusion. But over 90 seconds, the slide kind of goes stale. They're tired of looking at it. Your audience has already absorbed what is on the screen, and now they're just sitting there looking at something they've already processed while you keep talking. Their eyes have nowhere useful to go. Here's the thing that's easy to forget. When you're the speaker, you have seen every image in your PowerPoint deck dozens of times because you found them, you made them, you organized them, you practiced with them. They're not new to you, but your audience sees each one exactly once. They cannot rewind, they cannot pause and come back. They get one shot at each slide for however long you leave it up. And that means you control the pacing for them. So too fast, they're lost. Too slow, and you lost them anyway, just to boredom instead of confusion. So 30 to 90 seconds. Keep it moving, but give them time to land. And when you present your visual aid, introduce it as you show it and point to what matters. Keep your eyes on your audience, not the screen. Let's get specific about slide design because this is where most visual aid mistakes happen. One idea per slide, not one topic, one idea. If you find yourself introducing a list of 5 things, that's probably 2 or 3 slides, not one. Every slide should be able to answer the question, what is this slide for? And minimal text. Your slides are not your script. If you are reading your slides to your audience, you have stopped giving a speech and started reading a document aloud. But your audience can read too. They don't need you to do it for them. In fact, they can read faster than you can speak. So use keywords, phrases, images. definitely not paragraphs. In readable fonts and colors. If the person in the back row can't read it, it does not even exist. And high contrast, that matters. Decorative fonts might look interesting on a screen at close range and become completely illegible projected across a room. So when in doubt, bigger, simpler, higher contrast. And images that work. Visuals should be high resolution and relevant. A blurry stock photo that vaguely relates to your topic or some kind of a chart that you found and cut and paste, that's not a visual aid, that's clip art. So if an image doesn't add something specific and it's not easy to grasp in 30 seconds, just cut it. And then consistency. Use the same fonts, colors, layout throughout your whole deck. A deck that looks like 5 different people designed 5 different slides, that is distracting. Consistency tells your audience that you are in control of your material. Take a look at this. Do you love it? Okay, I want you to actually look at it hard for a minute before we talk about it. Let's move on to discussion. So, what is wrong here? And I mean specifically, not just that it's bad. What would you have to fix to make this slide functional? So, this is what happens when a slide tries to do too much or when the speaker stops thinking about the audience and starts thinking about their own notes. Everything that makes this slide difficult to use, it's a choice that prioritizes the speaker's convenience over the audience's experience. And that's the test. Every design decision in your deck should be made from the audience's view, not yours. And never put this on a slide, your references page. Your APA citations on a slide add nothing. They're impossible to read from a distance, and what they do is signal that you ran out of ideas for what to put there. References go in your written outline, and that is where they live. So visual aids, they're a tool, and like every tool, they can be used well or badly, and the difference is almost always intention. So ask yourself 3 questions about every visual you include. 1, does this add something my words can't do alone? 2, will my audience be able to process this in the time I give them? 3, am I designing this for them or for me? And if you can answer those honestly, your visual aids will do their job. All right, now get out there and design some great visuals for your presentation.